Am I the asshole for refusing to pay for my husband and his family's meals at the restaurant? To begin, my husband and I don't share finances. It's been like this for the 3 years of our marriage, and so far, we've been doing well. Though he would sometimes try to get me to pay for him, but I do it only when I want to do a nice thing for him. Say, invite him to a restaurant. This past week, he got a bonus at work. He was overjoyed and he informed his entire family and planned for them to go out and celebrate with us. He picked the restaurants, meals, drinks, etc. I naturally thought that he was going to pay for all of that since it's his happy celebration. But it turns out that I was wrong because when it was time to pay the bill, he told me to take care of it. So I said why? It's his celebration, not mine. But he insisted that I pay and he'll explain later. I refused and demanded an explanation. He said that while yes, he is the one who got the bonus, he assumed that I'd want to celebrate that and offer to cover the bill. When I talked about how ridiculous it was to assume that I'd pay for not just his, but his family's meals, he said that I should be happy for him instead of being visibly bitter. He then said that he is yet to receive his bonus, and he begged that I take care of the bill now, and he might consider paying me back later. I refused and only paid for what I consumed. Him and his family started talking about how inappropriate I was acting, so I took my purse and went home afterwards because there was so much commotion when they started arguing about who's going to cover the bill. His mum spam called me for hours, and he went off on me at home saying that I spoiled his celebration and joy because I'm feeling bitter, especially considering I had enough money to cover the bill right there and then. I said this wasn't my obligation, and he was the one who came up with the celebration idea. He argued that if the roles were reversed and I got a bonus, he would celebrate me and my achievements and pay for the damn meals after taking me and my family out. So I casually said, well, that's just you, not me. He got even more pissed and said that he had had it with my juvenile antics and that he won't ever forget the scene that I made at the restaurant in front of his family. He's been upset with me for days now. OP offers the following explanation for why they think they might be the arsehole. I could be because I refused to at least offer to pay half the bill and ruining my husband's joy and his celebration by insisting on not paying. Not the arsehole. It's common knowledge that you do not invite people to dinner and then expect them to pay for everyone else. You don't trap your spouse in an awkward situation like that either. He said the celebration was for his bonus. He invited everyone to eat out. Both of these, especially combined, imply that he is going to pay. He purposely set you up and then got his family in on it. He's using you, to the point where I would argue that this is financial abuse, especially since he's done things like this before. I would take a careful look at this relationship and see if it's going to work. I would insist on couples counseling if I were you. Counseling, at the very least. Not the asshole. You guys have separate finances. He didn't ask you beforehand. This was wildly tacky and presumptuous of him. The maybe I'll pay you back really sealed it for me. What a tool. And OP replies, that's exactly how I felt then. He might see it as pettiness or jealousy, but I swear it's not like that at all. I think you two have bigger issues that should have been dealt with before you got married, but not the arsehole. If he got a bonus, why couldn't he pay? Especially since y'all have the rule where y'all pay for yourselves already. He just didn't want to spend the extra money on a celebration that he planned. Like, damn dude, if you don't want to pay, don't plan a celebration dinner. Do you guys live together? How is the money split for household issues? Info. OP replies, household money is agreed upon, though he gets hung up on stuff that costs under $50 and says that I'm indebted to him, or when the internet payment is up and I ask him to pay, and then I would pay him back when I have the money. I thought these are small everyday arguments that are normal to have, but lately, it's been getting worse to be honest. Not the asshole. Who the F does he think he is? OP replies, I'm not sure why he didn't at least tell me. Otherwise, we would have reached an agreement, but he's upfront with me for what I did and said that this was an indicator of how little trust I have in him and his word when he said he might consider paying me back later. Consider paying you back? Well, that's magnanimous of him, isn't it? What are you supposed to trust about someone who says, you hand over your money now and I might think about refunding you later? My god, he is incredibly annoying. And now on to the update. So we just got into an argument. I showed him what I posted and he lost it on me. I accept my judgment, but he won't. He said, and I quote, "These people have no idea," and said that I should have mentioned that I make more money than him, which is really not that much and I don't think it justifies it. And that he had paid the bill for me in the past when I forgot my wallet, but I did pay him back, so I don't know. He's pretty pissed right now though. He basically kept laughing sarcastically when reading some of the comments. He just walked out of the kitchen to take a phone call and said he'll be back. I'm still here with the dog waiting to see how this goes. I'll update you if there's any new info. Am I the asshole for ignoring my dad and hiding at my grandma's? So my mum died from cancer. My dad got remarried to another person and ended up having more kids. It was really hard on me, but I tried, and am still trying to be supportive, because I guess he can replace his wife because people do that all the time, but I can't replace my mum. I'm not going to lie, it was very difficult to see her in my mum's bed and using the cups that my mum drank from, etc., even though it's been a few years. It hurts my feelings when she participates in traditions my mum had with us because I personally don't think she has a right, but I also don't like celebrating any of her traditions and going to see her family, which I guess makes it hard. I don't say anything about these things because what's the point? My dad's whole personality is different since he married her and had more kids, so I have to accept that I don't have my dad either, and I have a countdown app on my phone for when I turn 18, so it feels like there is an end in sight. My dad and his wife are not abusive in any way, but I still prefer here to elsewhere, and I don't consider myself part of the family, and am slowly coming to terms with the fact that my dad did replace my mum and me, but that it's okay because he still loves me. It makes me really depressed to be around their kids because, please don't think I'm mean for saying this, siblings go through things together, and the worst things that have happened to me are things they don't know, like my mum dying, dad changing, dad getting remarried, etc. I told my dad and his wife that I would be very uncomfortable if the kids they had together grew up not knowing that I had a mum who died and that was my deal breaker. I called my stepmom by her first name, and my half-brother asked why I don't call her mum, and my half-sister said, yeah, she is your mum, when I told them that my mum was dead and their mum isn't my mum. My stepmom did explain to them again, and I get that they are young, but they have been told so many times. I ended up just leaving and driving to my grandma's, my mum's mum, and texted my dad that I would be there. My dad and his wife kept calling me and texting, but I just turned off my phone and took a nap. My dad ended up coming to my grandma's, but I refused to see him. My stepmom stopped by today too. So now I would like to know if I am being an asshole. I would like to tell my dad that he failed as a dad and as a husband because he is still my dad and will always be my mum's husband, and to tell my stepmom that her presence makes me depressed. But that would make me an asshole. OP's offered the following explanation for why they think they might be the asshole. I am hiding and it makes me feel like an asshole because it is immature. Not the asshole. You should consider seeing a grief counselor or group. You are still grieving and you cannot see forward yet in life. Your father is coping and moving forward, but you haven't yet. Hopefully you can explain it to them, but you seem to need time to process all the changes. Sorry for your loss. OP replies, I'm in therapy. I just wish my dad cared about being my dad still, if that makes sense, because obviously he does and stuff, but like, have you asked your dad to spend one-on-one time with you? You should ask him. OP says, he should just want to. Once I ask, it's obvious he's going to because I asked. Look, I bet he does want to, but he also has his hands full with his little kids and a wife. If he knew that you wanted to spend one-on-one time with him, I think he'd make it a priority. I know you don't love the choices and changes he's made, but you are being too hard on him and yourself. Spend some time just the two of you, and don't be afraid to tell him all of these feelings that you are having. And OP replies, yeah, I'm sure all his time is taken up with his other kids and wife and job. It's a lot. I can't blame him for forgetting about me. Your question is, am I the asshole if I tell my dad how I feel? You should tell your dad how you feel. Neither of you is the asshole. You are both just dealing with and healing from your grief differently. Talk to him. He does love you and wants to know how you feel, even if you don't agree with his choices. He would rather know how you feel than lose you forever. Why do you think he came to your grandma's? You're the asshole. Reading all of your replies, you are a bitter child and the therapy is not helping you. Your stepmom and your father can't win with you regardless of anything they try, and you've openly said this. You want your stepmom to admit she only has her family because your mum died. Kid, she knows this already. I get that you're hurting, but you're an asshole. You also can't be angry your dad hasn't asked to come sit in a therapy session with you when you've never asked him to because you know he'll say yes and come with you? Like, what? Thank you for saying that. Grief is hard, but she is making no effort, and all she does in the comments is saying her dad is choosing stepmom and kids over her, that he loves them more, that the stepmom stole her dad and profited off a broken family, that their kids are loud brats. That's just a big no. You're the asshole. No assholes here. Or maybe just a little understandable, you're the asshole. I see nothing your dad or step have done to be the asshole. Siblings do not share all experiences and pain, even sharing two parents, so don't write off all the littles. You have been dealt a tough hand, but it seems like they care for you. Therapy? Look at things from others' perspectives a bit. Am I the asshole for asking my wife to take care of our newborn during the night hours while she is on maternity leave? So my wife works at a company that gives 16 weeks of paid maternity leave. I only ask her that during that 16-week time period that she take care of the baby during the midnight hours while I sleep, since I have to work from Monday to Friday. I told her that after I get off work, I will take over entirely, do all chores, cook, take care of the baby, and even more so on weekends where I have no issues staying up late, waking up early, or multiple times in the night for her to catch up on all of her needed rest. I also know that some nights, even if I'm working, I will stay up with the baby. But she still thinks that it's unfair if it's not an even split, which I disagree with. Be honest. I may be the asshole, I just want opinions. You're the asshole. What exactly is she doing during the day while you're at work? Daydreaming? Looking after a newborn during the day alone is stressful. She'll be deeply postpartum, healing, and you expect her to get up every night, Monday to Friday? Look, I get it. You're working. I'm the breadwinner in the family, but you know what you get at work? An entire lunch break to do whatever you want. You get to piss whenever you want. If something is over your head, you have colleagues to help you. Your office isn't dependent completely on you. Looking after a child is emotionally and mentally draining, far more than work. Those tiny humans can bring you to your knees in an hour on a bad day. You get to walk out of the office and leave work behind. Even when you come home, her work is still there, screaming. Man up and help out at night. So you work 9 AM to 10 PM, 13 hours corrected. She works 10 PM to 6 PM, 20 hours. You get 8 hours of sleep and she gets 4. You get alone time during the day and she does not. You get help at work, she does not. Read those facts and tell me if it sounds like you're the asshole. 4 hours of sleep would be amazing with a newborn, and even if you got that, they would not be 4 consecutive hours. Source, somebody who was just up all night with a newborn. Am I the asshole for not surrendering the last piece of Yellowtail? Myself and 6 other co-workers are out of town on a work trip, and the company pays for our dinner each night. The team lead has the corporate card. So of course we were like, let's get sushi. We get to the restaurant last night and pass around the menu with everyone checking off rolls and dishes they want. I love sashimi, the clean raw fish with no rice or additives that gives you that pure delicate flavor. I was like the 3rd person to get the sheet, and no one else had checked any off yet, so I check off one order of almost all of them. The plate arrives, and while I try a few rolls, I mostly stick to the sashimi. No order belongs to anyone. We're all just taking what we want from what's in front of us. Each sashimi order came with 3 pieces. A couple of people tried the tuna and one the salmon, but the rest no one else took any of, so I ate most of it. I had eaten the first 2 pieces of yellowtail, and I picked up the last with my chopsticks. One of my coworkers said, "Wait, I want to try that." Now, if she had picked it up before me, that would have been fine, but the fish was already halfway to my mouth. I said, "I don't think you want this after my chopsticks have touched it, since they've been going in and out of my mouth all night." She insisted that she did want it, so I said, "Sorry, I picked it up first." I picked it up from the sashimi platter too. I didn't stick it all on my plate early on and hoard it. She had the whole meal to try some if she wanted. She rolled her eyes and said, "But you already had some." So at this point, I'm looking for a compromise. I said, "Just ask for another order." She shook her head. "I only want to try 1 piece. Just give it to me." At this point, I felt the argument was silly, so I just ate my sushi. I felt silly just holding it up in front of my face. She stared at me in shock. "Did you seriously just do that?" I told her that I'd ask the waitress for another order if she wanted, and I would eat the remaining 2 pieces if she was worried about waste. But she glared at me and said, "No, you've had enough." After that, the dinner was awkward. My remaining coworkers are split on the issue. 2 are on my side and 2 are on hers. My team lead says the issue is too juvenile to have an opinion on. Am I the asshole? So, there were 3 pieces total. Everyone was sharing. You found it appropriate to eat all 3 pieces instead of allowing other people to try it. You're the asshole. She acted a bit childish, and I was pretty close to saying that everyone sucks because of the way that she acted. But to be fair, most people would be annoyed at your behavior. Quote, "My team lead says the issue is too juvenile to have an opinion on." At least someone at dinner was mature. And this is why I hate these sharing meals. I don't like many dishes. I'd rather just order what I want to eat, than have a bit of couple of dishes while others have a bit of many dishes. But to take lots of one dish makes someone greedy, even if they've eaten less in total. Joey was wise in not sharing food. Everyone sucks here, although given that this could have been avoided by you A, not taking more than a couple of pieces of any one thing in case someone else did get around to wanting some later, or B, checking whether it was okay for you to go ahead and take the last piece before you just went and did it. I'd be more inclined to side with your coworker if the whole thing hadn't devolved into such a ridiculous playground squabble. I'm definitely leading towards you're the asshole though. It's basic manners to ask whether you can have the last piece of something or not. Also, your coworker stated that she doesn't mind that your chopsticks already touched the fish, so you had no excuse to not give it to her. God, this entire situation is so silly. You're the asshole. You should ask before eating the last of a shared platter if you already had a serving, or already eaten the rest of it. People shouldn't have to compete in a test of speed for a taste of shared dishes. Am I the asshole for not respecting my child's mother's concerns? So me and my ex/child's mother, Abby, have an 8-year-old son together named Easton. We were friends in high school and became best friends in college. During that time, we caught feelings for each other and dated after we graduated. We accidentally got pregnant and decided to try to make it work. But things started to deteriorate. I asked Abby to marry me and she said no. She said I wasn't mature enough and had things that I needed to work on. We stayed together, but honestly I was pretty upset and I didn't handle it well. I kinda regressed and started to go out more, drink with friends more, gained weight, and just sorta gave up. Well, Abby told me she was done, and we split up when Easton was 2. But we remained good friends and co-parents. We have split custody, but I live in a nicer home that is in my son's school district, so Abby spends a lot of time at my place. I gave her a key and a spare bedroom for herself. She spends the night every so often if we're hanging out with our son together and it gets late. She lives about 30 minutes and hates driving at night. Neither of us have remarried. She has dated much more seriously than me, and we have one rule. We have to approve of the other person's significant other before we can date them seriously. I approved of all of the guys that she's brought around, besides one, and she cut him off. I have never seriously brought anyone around. I will admit that me and Abby have been intimate a handful of times the last 6 years, usually after a couple drinks whenever she stays over, but we both expressed these are one-night things and nothing more. So recently, I started getting into healthy living and working out. Easton has a friend from school that he hangs out with. His mum, Abby, and me are all friendly. Well, this mum has a sister, Jackie, who is into healthy living too. We got to talking one playdate, and we sorta hit it off. With her help, I quit drinking and have probably lost 30 pounds. We started as friends, but things progressed, and we've been seeing each other for months now. We finally decided to tell Abby and let her meet Jackie. Jackie is a wonderful person, a teacher, super sweet, and is just a very genuine person. Well, Abby texted me after meeting Jackie for coffee that she doesn't like her, and that she isn't giving me her blessing. I asked why, and she couldn't give me a direct answer. I got frustrated and asked for a specific reason. This went on for days. Eventually, I got upset and told Abby that maybe we needed to take a step back from her coming over until this is settled, because Jackie is going to be involved and wants to be. Abby said that she was looking out for me and that a woman knows. I told her that she isn't some mind reader, and unless she thinks that our son is in danger, that I'm going to go ahead with the relationship. She has been freaking out lately and way out of character. She's called me an asshole to my friends and family. I have said that unless she can give me a real reason, then I don't see the issue. Am I the asshole? Everyone sucks here, but not for asshole reasons. You and your ex have an unhealthy relationship, and you should never have told each other that you need each other's blessings to date. So long as a new potential significant other is stable, financially, mentally, and emotionally, and good to Easton, those are the only things either of you should concern yourself with in regards to each other's partners. You both have shot yourselves in the foot for living with this agreement for so long, and by sleeping with each other. This is not co-parenting. This is 1 foot in the door and 1 foot out the door on both your parts, and will likely confuse your son as he gets older. You need to take stock of the relationship with your ex and take several steps back from being at all romantically involved with her and at all invested in her love life. She needs to do the same. Exactly. I thought it was weird that they needed each other's approval when it came to a potential partner. It seemed a little immature to me and just plain weird. Not the asshole. You guys are a messy bunch though. This deal/rule that you guys worked out is unnecessary. 30 minutes is not a long drive. She shouldn't be spending any nights over. You guys should not be involved in each other's life unless it's to discuss your son's well-being, development, and overall happiness. Stop sleeping with each other. Neither of you will ever move on if you don't stop, because you always have a backup. She definitely has feelings for you because you guys don't separate your lives. It's great you remained friendly, but you mix co-parenting and personal. That's a recipe for disaster, the one you're in. Very well said. This sounds like a nice relationship/marriage to me. Hey, I can see my kid whenever I want, sleep with his dad every now and again, still have my own space, and he's doing all the things that I needed when we were official. Boundaries, my dude, or your next problem is going to be Jackie's reaction to her being a little too chummy. You really buried the lead there. The fact that you occasionally shag your ex-wife, and you are shocked, repeat, shocked, that she is cock-blocking someone who you see as a potential serious mate. Even if she doesn't want you back seriously, jealousy isn't always rational. Almost never, actually. I would make sure everything in your custody agreement is locked down as tightly as possible, in case she tries to cause more pointed trouble. It was charmingly naive that you thought you could continue to sleep with someone who you gave a veto on your dating life and didn't anticipate any problems. What could possibly go wrong? I'm gonna go no assholes here. You should date whomever you like, and she has a natural right to be jealous when an ex who she sleeps with starts to date other women seriously and wanting to integrate them into her family. These are all natural, normal feelings. You really need to stop sleeping with her, regardless of how this plays out, however.